What's up, guys? Welcome to Tacoma Lifestyle. Today I'm joined with Sebastian.
What's up, everybody? I'm Sebastian with Tacoma Lifestyle.
And then I also have Tyler to the left of me.
What's up? I'm Tyler.
Tyler's our new video guy. He's here as a special guest of the video today. But Toyota recently just dropped their new TRD Pro color, and we decided to talk about it. It's caused a little bit of controversy in the Toyota world because it's another one of those really bright colors, kind of like Lime Rush. And what was the other one? Solar Octane. So we're going to talk about it, see what we like about it, talk a little bit about the TRD Pro colors. But yeah, that's kind of what's on the agenda today, I think.
Cool. Yeah, we're just keeping it casual today. It's kind of in our podcast room here. You'll start seeing a lot more of this in coming videos in the next couple weeks, hopefully. So, but we're just kind of getting a little feel for it, and we figured this is a great video to kind of introduce this style of video to you guys. And yeah, we're just keeping it casual today. We're going to kind of walk through it. I'm going to guide them kind of through and get their opinions on it and see what they like, what they don't like. We're going to talk about some other TRD colors throughout the years, kind of compare them, and maybe get a few hot takes on the way.
Yeah, but first time using the podcast room.
First time using the podcast room.
Breaking it in.
So let's get like kind of a breakdown on the color. I mean, I'll put an image on the screen, but what were your first initial reactions to it? Like,
what was it called? It was
Wave Maker.
Wave Maker.
Yeah.
I always think it's like Wave Crush or something like that.
All I'm saying is, where did they come up with these names, right?
Yeah.
Wave Maker. I mean,
it's probably my least favorite name.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say so.
I mean, I don't know.
Kind of corny.
Yeah, it is kind of corny. Wave Maker.
The color itself, though, I personally really like. Was it what I wanted? No. I've told these guys plenty of times that I've been a fan of wanting to get a yellow in there. I've seen a lot of you guys post on forums and stuff about bringing back the FJ Cruiser purple in some way. So seeing another blue, I don't know. It's all the blues that come out with are pretty popular, but
yeah.
It's a lot of blue.
It's a lot of blue. They also came out with the Heritage Blue.
It's hard because blue is such a good color, and I do like this on the Tacoma and the 4Runner. Mm-hmm. The Tundra Sequoia, it's almost too playful to be on a big truck and SUV like that.
I agree.
Like, I don't think, if you walk into a Toyota dealership and you see those two colors, I think that's the last color you get on a Tundra and a Sequoia. Mm-hmm. Tacoma and 4Runner owners will still buy it, especially like 4Runner owners. For some reason, I feel like it's just going to do really popular with them, but yeah, I don't know. Me personally, would I ever go with that option? Absolutely not. Great color, can support it, would never buy it.
That's what I've been hearing.
That's kind of my take with it. Sebastian's had
what do you think,
a take of his own.
Yeah, so, I mean, from the moment that it came out, I thought it was a joke. My first thought was, well, they've already come out with two other blues in the last couple of years. Yeah. There's no way that we're going to get this. But hey, here we are. I've already forgotten what it's called. Wave Crush?
Wave Maker.
Wave Maker.
See? Wave Crush sounds so
Wave Crush would be better,
yeah.
I think. But I do agree with what you were saying about it looking kind of playful, almost childish on the bigger vehicles like the Tundras and Sequoias. Mm-hmm. And I'd even argue to say that it looks a little childish on the Tacoma and the 4Runner. When we live in a market of small vehicles already, the last thing we need to do is give ourselves gimmicky colors to make us even look more like toy trucks.
I agree.
Bassie's not a fan of the light blue.
I get it.
We're from Utah, and we recently got a hockey team that's color is light blue. Bassie doesn't like that either, but I'm a massive fan of it. So
I just feel like I got over the color light blue when I was 5 years old with every other little boy.
I mean, the new color does kind of look like a kid picked up one of those bright blue crayons and just, was like, like, what if Dad's truck was this color?
It's giving Hot Wheel car.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's kind of weird because we see these colors. You're a Porsche guy.
Yeah. I mean,
Miami blue,
it's not far off. It's
it's funny that we see a color come out for these vehicles. If you're about to say
what's the difference between it being on a truck?
I'm not saying what's the difference, but like we see these colors come out for these trucks, and we're like, yeah, and then we see it come out on like a sports car and stuff, and we think, oh, this is the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah.
So it is kind of interesting how like the perception of those two is kind of different, but I do like the color on the Tacoma and the 4Runner, the Sequoia and the Tundra.
Yeah.
is not great. Also, why can't we get a brown one of these years? That's another color that I feel like we haven't gotten yet. The 1794
edition brown.
That is so
It's
good.
true.
Why
That
can't
was
we
a pretty
have
brown.
that across the board?
board.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite Toyota colors that they've ever done. Is that 1794 edition brown on the
Yeah.
Toyota Tundras?
Yep.
Is immaculate.
Just keep it on like the
like,
limiteds.
Don't
Well,
argue with
or
me
something.
either when I say that the interior on the 1794 edition
Mm-hmm.
is the best. If the 1794 edition had an option to where you could swap the grill that comes on that truck with the TRD Pro grill,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that there would be a better trim package you could buy for them.
You don't think the black and the brown would clash at all?
No.
I think it works with the chrome, but I don't know about the black.
I think it
Well,
looked great
I
with the
saw, we were at Expo, over on Expo West this weekend, and one of the booths said they had a 1794 edition, but they had like a matte PPF on it,
Yes.
and it looked very good. So that's what I would like to see. But
For sure.
yeah, this color, I don't know, I'm fine with it.
The color that I've been wanting for years and am just completely dumbfounded as to why we've not gotten it. How have we not gotten a TRD red?
He did make a
What,
good
like,
point
how
of
has
that.
there never been a TRD red? Every single one of these TRD Pros have that TRD red on the vehicle in some way or another.
Yeah.
Where is the vehicle that is that color? Because they've come out with colors like Barcelona red on the Tacomas and 4Runners.
Yeah.
The second gen had a red that was close.
The second gen did have a very close red, but
also-
it wasn't the same.
It also gets so sun faded. Every red second gen
Are
Tacoma
we
I
talking
see is
Inferno or a
just
different red?
No, so Inferno's more of an orange. On the second gen
Right.
Tacomas,
There was like a red.
there was a
like
red,
an actual red.
Oh, yeah.
not like a. So like all the new ones have this almost like burgundy.
Was it
It's like a
the
Barcelona
non-metallic
red.
one?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay, I remember that one, yeah.
And it was-
Yeah.
It looks good on the truck.
It does.
I think now I did just contradict myself and say you shouldn't do childish colors on a vehicle like this small, and now I'm asking for a really bright red truck.
I think red's different, though. Like,
I think red is different than blue, but Toyota is red. Toyota is red, yellow, and
Yeah.
orange, and I
Yeah.
feel like we're lacking in the yellow and red department.
for sure.
Yeah.
What kind of yellow would you like to see? Like a banana or like a metallic? Like
That's tough.
like a tasteful.
Whenever
like
I
bold-
talk about it, I say you should just call it like a Tonka truck yellow. Like, you know, the Tonka
Okay.
trucks, it was like a darker yellow. It was almost like a
Is that Instagram account still around? The Tonka
That
Tacoma,
color,
that
yeah.
yellow Tonka Tacoma. I
He
remember
wrapped
him
it.
having that in the years past, and I don't think it's the same color anymore. But to me, that was
would be
the
perfect.
best looking Tacoma color that I'd ever seen on the third gen.
It would
I bet
look
looked
great.
dope.
And there are other car companies that do it. Like Ram did like a yellow TRX that looks really
It
good.
was so sick.
Oh yes, that one looked.
Like, you take that
Really
color
good.
and you put it with the Tacoma 400 Tundra.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think it would do that well on the Tundra and the Sequoia, but the Tacoma 4Runner, like,
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah.
I would buy a yellow Tacoma.
Yeah, I would.
TRD
yeah.
Pro.
So more of like a speed yellow than like the.
Yeah,
what's-
I'm like
what's that
thinking of
color on the
like
RS4s or
Imola yellow.
Emily yellow. Yeah.
But I
some more of
almost feel like Imola yellow is still too bright.
it. I think it's.
But I'd have to see it.
I think it's
been
too
a
bright, but
minute.
not saturated enough at the same
Yeah,
time.
that's true.
It's a little, but
So I don't know. Yeah, yellow would be good, but I think they did a good job with the blue, and I don't know. I'm already excited for next year to see what they come out with. It's
I feel
almost
like
like,
every time they come out with a color, I'm always like, okay.
well, there's
now
the
what's next?
one.
yeah.
But last year's was a banger.
My
Last
bad.
year's was probably one of my favorite colors that they have ever done.
Well, and the crazy thing is too, they just released the 2026 color. How many mud bath vehicles have you seen on the road?
None.
I've seen one Sequoia, and then when we went to go pick up the 4Runner, I saw a Tundra and a Tacoma.
I did
mud
see, I
bath.
lied. I did see a Tundra at the dealership in Mudbath, and I loved it.
Yeah, that one looks really good. But you don't even see those on the road right now. We're already talking about
Yeah.
the next TRD Pro color. Like,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a 2026 color, and we are in May of 2025.
And we're not even gonna see
That color.
really these colors roll out. But I feel like that's a common trend with the TRD Pro colors.
Yeah.
I feel like we don't really start seeing them until they get adopted into the TRD Off-Road, TRD Sport
Right.
Yeah, that's fair.
models.
Yeah. I agree.
That's
So
what it was like with Luna Rock. As soon as Luna
For
Rock
sure.
went off, it went off.
yeah.
Yeah, true.
So purple and yellow. That's what we're looking for.
Purple, yellow, red.
Purple, yellow, red. Basti says red. We're interested to see what you guys have to say in the comments about what color you're looking forward to. But that's just our takes. Purple and yellow, Toyota. If you're listening, come on. You know what we want. You know it. We'll put a down payment on right now. J-Mac will for all of us. But.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys went down to Overland Expo in Flagstaff last weekend. Did you see any there? Any previews? Like, did Toyota bring anything?
No.
Nothing?
No. Toyota had, and we love Toyota, and we support everything they do, and they are the reason that we are in business, but their booth was not great.
Really? Okay, so they did have a booth. But
we talked about this, and Toyota, this expo is always kind of tricky. Mm-hmm. It's in Flagstaff, Arizona, and it's in May, right? Mm-hmm. And at this time of year, the weather is always a toss-up. You're either going to get a really nice warm day or you're going to get a lot of wind and stuff. Now, when I walked by Toyota's booth, I've seen their booth a bunch of times at this show. This year did look like they had less, but one of our guys made a very good point that Toyota is like, hey guys, we can't do something crazy every single year. Which makes sense.
Right.
They had all their trail hunter stuff out, and they had a bunch of good apparel and stuff. But I do see where you're coming from when you say that it looked like there was slightly a lack of effort.
I just wish the only other time I've seen a TRD Pro 4Runner, there was one at the show the booth had. But the only other time I've really seen one from a Toyota booth was at SEMA when we went. You go to these Overland Expos, and I get, the Trail Hunters, the Overland, model, but, I'd still like to see a pro there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And they just never do for some reason.
Yeah.
So.
Well, one thing that happens at Overland Expo West, which is up in Colorado, that not Toyota, but Ram does, is they have this experience-based booth, right, where they put you in the car with them,
right,
and then they go over some obstacles, and it's always the Ram TRX. I think last year they had an RHO.
Yeah. The Broncos,
they
do that.
They do it all. It's really, really cool. And personally, I would love for Toyota to do something like that.
And they've done something like that at Toyota Jamboree.
Right.
It's true.
It's just
that's their event.
Yeah. So it's interesting that we can't get that here. But I don't know. Their booth was all right.
Yeah.
And there was still a lot of really cool stuff at Expo. Bass, you'll understand when I bring this up, and I hate that I'm bringing this up, but portals are the big thing right now. Mm-hmm. And yes, they do look really cool on all these vehicles. Personally, I'll never be able to afford portals or justify affording
They're
portals.
Expensive.
$20K for one mod.
Mm-hmm.
I can't.
Just get long travel and.
But let's set this $20,000 right here.
Yeah.
Right. To put portals on my 4Runner. Jordan,
no, it doesn't.
I would buy a whole nother car and upgrade it to be a full-fledged solid axle rock crawler.
Yeah, I could get a 3rd gen 4Runner
and do solid
and put $20K into it for
I was just gonna say you could buy a 4th gen for $5,000 and put a $15,000 long travel kit on it.
So that's kind of a rage these days. Is everything is on portals at Overland Expo, which I will say they look cool.
Yeah,
and that's awesome. And these companies, I know it's these companies are trying to mass produce something that is very unique to the racing industry.
For sure.
And I'm sure down the line it'll get more affordable everything else does. But
that's what they need to do.
Those were really cool. But that was I don't know. It's kind of just unattainable.
So I don't know if you remember a conversation that we had about these portals at Expo. One of our good friends is driving up from Texas, and the seal on his portal went out while he was driving highway miles, right? And he had to stop, and he was luckily in an area with kind enough people that he was able to pull in to a shop, lift his truck up, and do it himself because nobody there knew how to do it.
Right.
I work on these cars a lot. I wouldn't know how to reseal a portal.
Right. That's something you got to get certified in. You got to know specifically, and the maintenance intervals. The maintenance intervals on portals are ridiculous. It's 10, 20K miles or something.
I don't even resealed. No, but that's the thing is, I don't know. And there are benefits, the whole.
For sure.
I see the interest in it's a re-gear. It's getting you a lift without messing with the geometry of the suspension. Like,
for sure.
That stuff, yeah, sure. But I don't know. Just get a simple lift that you don't have to worry about. And
how many of us, realistically, like, I know we build our trucks this way. I know that we say that we do. But out of everybody sitting on this couch, right, these couches, how many of us go and do portal-worthy activities regularly?
Well, I don't even think you need portals to do half the activities. Like, I've done Hell's Revenge. I've done 7 Mile Rim down in Moab, which are, like, not the most difficult trails, but they're harder than your average, like, service road. And we didn't have any obstacles that we felt like we needed them on. Obviously, we didn't do things like Mickey's hot tub or the escalator there, but, like, went up Hell's Gate just fine, didn't need anything. And you look at the guys at Descent Off-Road who have their Land Cruiser on portals, and they tipped over on Hell's Gate. So it's like, do you really need that? No. And we've had, like, we have people here at the warehouse that have gone down to San Hollow and done crazy stuff, like, without portals. So, like...
Without lockers even.
Lockers even. So, like, at the end of the day, like, do these mods, like, help make things easier and maybe make your truck look cooler? Yes. But do you really need them? No. And
so I mean, I grew up with a dirt biking background. My dad started us off very young.
Right.
And being a young kid, all I wanted was the biggest, the best, the fastest, right? And my dad put it very simply when I was a kid that if he were to give me all of the carbon fiber parts, all of the fastest, most, like, built items for my bike, at my current skill level, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference between that bike and the bike that I'm currently on because I don't have the skill to operate this in the way it should be. And I think that that's something we should take into account with our trucks a lot.
Yeah.
Let's learn how to use our stuff first.
Yeah, exactly like that. You know, you can be full throttle all the time on your starter bike or be at half throttle on the nicest new bike.
Yeah.
But you're going to be going the same speed because you can't use all the throttle on a nice new bike. You just
100%.
You know, so for our uses, we're never going to need full axles. They're cool, but, like, for 20K, on the other side of things, like, how many people are going to come up to your truck, look under it, and be like,
they're on portals.
They're on portals, you know? Like, how many people are, A, going to know what portals are, but B, let's say some people who do come up to your truck, are they going to really, like, look under it and be like, wow,
exactly.
You know?
$20,000 is like half of what a brand, like, is $20,000 is like half of what a good 4Runner costs nowadays.
Oh, yeah.
Like, $40,000 buys you, like, nice 5th gen 4Runner, right? And even into the lower models of the 6th gen.
For sure.
No, it's like an insane amount of money.
It's crazy. Too much money, I think. They're too new.
Yeah. Not to bash on any of you who have portals. We just...
If you were able to afford it, awesome.
Go for it. We want to see it.
I want to see it.
I'd love to know what you're doing with work and how I can afford that much.
And if they're hiring, apparently. I guess J-Max now looking. But going back to kind of the wave maker a little bit. So, I mean, neither of you are going to buy a wave maker.
No.
Tacoma or, you know, and I'm not going to buy one. I just use these guys' cars when I go off-road, right? Like J-Max said, I'm a Porsche guy. I have half an inch of ground clearance, and I'm proud of it. But
you just do what I did and buy both.
That's true, yeah. Once I get out of debt for the first one, I'll let you know. But who do you think is, like, going to buy it?
There's a market.
There's a market.
And here's the thing about the Toyota community as well. There is always a market. And within some reason, there are some people that are going to make these very tasteful. It's going to look great. I have seen, like, personally speaking, one of my least favorite colors that Toyota ever came out with was the Lime Rush, also known as, what else is it? Electric lime metallic.
Which we'll get into in a second. People make those look sick. They do.
Now, 90% of them on the road, I'm like, no. But there's that 10% out there that's like, you did right. You did good.
Yes.
And I think
you mean
there's a lot
just a manual's car.
Yeah, just Emmanuel's. Yeah, Emmanuel's 3rd gen Tacoma. Emmanuel, if you're watching, you have the coolest Lime Rush Tacoma.
Yeah.
I
think there's a market, J-Mac.
There is a market for collectors. Anybody that like loves getting Toyota trucks will 100% buy this.
Yeah.
I think. And then people from California that use these as like beach cars. Mm-hmm. That's another type. Like I don't see anyone in Utah buying it where we're from. It's not like in California I bet you people it sells. Like the whole like beach vibe, it fits that same vibe with like that
Miami.
I was just gonna say Florida.
Florida, it's gonna sell in Florida.
Yeah.
But like people that like want a truck that goes to the beach and that's all they do, and they like want to live that lifestyle, I think it fits that perfectly.
I think that's cool too. That's all I did. I would buy crazy colors.
Why not?
But outside of that, I don't know. It's gonna be hard, and I don't think I promise. This is my take. When it's all said and done, and I still haven't figured out where Toyota produces their sales numbers, but when it's all said and done, I wouldn't be hard pressed to bet that this color is the lowest volume TRD Pro color sold for the Tundra and the Sequoia.
Yeah.
For sure.
Not all four.
Sense. If you buy a Tundra or a Sequoia in the Wavemaker color, I'm genuinely curious to pick your brain. Nothing against you.
But here's the thing.
I just want to know.
I bet you it sells it sells less than Lime Rush and electric lime metallic. I personally hate Lime Rush, like we've talked about, but
did they make Lime Rush
for the Tundra?
For the Tundra and the Sequoia?
No, they never did.
They never did.
Which is interesting.
But now they're doing.
Because now they do it for
I feel
every
like
car.
The trend now is here's our Tundra, here's our Sequoia, here's our 4Runner, here's our Tacoma. And every single one of them is going to get our TRD.
That's curious, because when did that come out?
When did that start?
Right. I kind of feel like now that I know they shared like solar octane, but I do feel like now that they share a very similar design language across all four vehicles, like you line them up, you can tell they are from the same brand for sure. You know, you could before, but like now, the headlights and the grills and the, bumpers especially, you can tell they are a related family of vehicles, and I think they really, just decided to go bold across all four with this one. I do think they went a little too bold too early, maybe, with, people are still getting used to how the 6-gen 4Runner look, and the 4-gen Tacoma looks a little better than the 4Runner. But also the new Tundra and Sequoia, people are still getting used to how they look because they're a bold redesign, in my opinion.
Right.
But a bold color on top of that, people are, I think, a little nervous about it. But
so like we mentioned earlier, we just got back from Overland Expo, and one of the common things that I was asked while we were there was how I felt about the new powertrain in the 4Runner and the Tacoma. And I don't know why it came as such a shock to me, but it did. And it just kind of goes to show that these vehicles are still so new that all people are reading is negative things, or they're just hearing. They don't have any first-hand experience with these engines. And for the 4Runner side of things, I can totally understand. They had a vehicle that was the same body style and the same engine for over a decade, right? And so they got very comfortable. And so changing things up is scary. But from driving those new vehicles, all I can say is the direction Toyota has been going, they know what they're doing. So maybe we can't see it with this big kahuna wave. What's it called again?
The Wavemaker?
Wavemaker. The Wavemaker. But again, there's a lot of people over at Toyota that run a lot of numbers, and they may know more than we do.
They are one of the best-selling just companies in general. I don't think they're too worried about a specific line of color. If it doesn't sell well, I think they'll be okay.
Agreed.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
But
Bassie did bring up something interesting, and I think this might be interesting for the video. And whether we can include this or not, I think is fine because we won't name drop anybody. We did have someone from Toyota come up to us
true.
This is some interesting.
This was crazy.
I don't think I've heard this yet.
No,
this
you
was
haven't.
crazy.
You haven't. This is
at,
crazy.
this is at Expo?
This is at Expo.
This took us all off guard because at first I thought he was lying to me that he was from Toyota until I saw all the badges.
So he's from Toyota.
Okay.
He is an engineer for a vehicle, an off-road body-on-frame truck. And, of course, we kind of asked him questions to try and open up. Yeah. But he's like, I'm not on the team for the Tundra, the 4Runner, the Sequoia, or the Land Cruiser. All those.
I can't tell you which one, but I'm going to tell you which one I'm not a part of.
Exactly.
He made it very clear that he, like, all those teams are doing great things. And we're like, oh, so like, are you working for, like, Tundra stuff? He's like, no. Like, oh, what are you working for? He's like, I can't say yet.
Yeah.
Which was very interesting. So we're trying to ask him, like,
14th SUV.
So, well, that's the thing. I'm like, well, like, what is it, like more of a Highlander or Grand Highlander type, or is it like an off-roader? He's like, well, it's a body-on-frame vehicle,
right?
Which instantly moves it to the category of Land Cruiser or Tacoma 4Runner.
Right,
that's truck frame right there. That's big boss frame.
Can I tell you my theory before you tell me what else he told you?
I'm interested to see what your theory is.
Yeah, what are you thinking?
They come out with Wavemaker, right? They had the surf concept.
The surf concept.
Is that where we're going with this?
No.
Okay,
but I wish.
It is
Wavemaker color. They had the surf concept.
I'd buy
have a Wavemaker.
Sold.
You need to surf. Like, you see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
No, there is something about that, like, topless feature that would come on that Hilux Surf or the 4Runner, the ode to the first gen 4Runner.
Yeah.
Dude, I have told multiple people that I would pre-order one the second Toyota announced it.
Honestly, I would too.
Here's the thing. When the Land Cruiser 250 series came out.
Right.
If you remember, and you might have to go look this up, but when they were doing the whole press conference for it, in the background there was a silhouette of a Land Cruiser, but it had a rear tire carrier on it. So everyone saw that and was thinking, oh, okay, like, are they coming out with another FJ Cruiser? And when we asked the guy that worked for Toyota, we're like, well, where does it slot in? Because, like you said, they have a million SUVs. Like, what are they gonna? What are they gonna do?
What do you think I was joking?
The Land Cruiser, the GX, the 4Runner, all fill the same role.
What is this picture I need to look up?
Look up the 250 series, or just do look up FJ Cruiser teaser.
Okay.
And it should pop up.
Because people are still thinking it's an FJ.
But that was a while ago. So it's kind of.
Is it this thing?
That, yes.
That is.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's interesting. And if you remember, Toyota came out with all those electric concept vehicles a few years ago, and that ended up being the new Tacoma. There was the little electric one, but I don't know if that was body on frame technically. It looked more unibody when that came out.
Yeah, this I could see being.
But he said that it was going to be a new body on frame truck. So, and when you look at all of their SUVs, obviously I feel like they're all competing with each other now, which is kind of just a weird business strategy in my opinion. But the one market that they do not have a competitor for is Wrangler Bronco. So you have to think would they ever bring the FJ Cruiser back to compete with that market? I think it would do really well. I would buy one if they brought it back. But that would swing me from 4Runner if they brought one of those back.
So don't hate me, FJ guys, but have you ever driven an FJ Cruiser?
Oh, it drives just like my truck.
Have you sat in an FJ Cruiser?
I've done it once, and I never cared to again.
It is impossible to see out of. It is inhumanly small.
I love them.
The only thing that's cool about it is the way they look and the way they operate. That's what you should mostly be focused on realistically.
Right,
but
for sure,
I had to drive one from where we are here in Orem, just highway miles, down to St. George, Utah, which is about 3.5 hours, right?
Yeah.
I felt like I was driving like a 2010 Jeep Wrangler that is on 5-year-old Fox 2.0s that are just completely blown, and I can see about this much out of the windshield, and my A-pillar is about the size of a tree trunk. It was crazy.
Jeep owners, that's the only compliment you're going to get from us. We think the Wrangler's a little better.
I love the FJ. I would totally get one. If they brought it back, I would 100% go over that.
I would
do that over a
100% go look
Really?
into it,
Okay.
but I would hope that there was some major redesigns.
It'd be sick.
Also,
Anyway, that's a little bit of tea that we got from Toyota. So
Okay.
Yeah. Wait, he also told us one other thing that we probed him with a little bit, and he didn't tell us no. We talked about a Toyota diesel option.
that is true.
Me and J-Mac have talked about this a couple times.
So,
But we
and
talked about
recently
this
it's
guy.
gotten a lot more
Or-
traction. I
really?
can't remember who, it was like Jalopnik. Somebody came out with like something about it, about how later this year for like a mid-cycle refresh of the Tundra,
Yeah.
they're going to introduce a diesel. And so
For the Tundra.
for the
See?
Tundra. So we even asked him
Really?
about that, and he seemed shocked that we even asked. Like, he
Oh,
just
yeah.
had this reaction where he was kind of like taken back from it.
He's
And
like,
obviously he didn't
like,
say
we
anything.
shouldn't know that.
Yeah.
Like, obviously he didn't say anything, but it was an interesting reaction. But yeah, I don't know. So a couple of neat things maybe coming from Toyota. The whole body on frame truck thing, he said it's still like within the next 10 years. So the time frame's like from now to 2035. So
Right.
Talk about things that would sell me instantly. A diesel Tundra.
So I think it's interesting
Instantly.
because, I mean, you guys know, do you think they'll do like a V8 diesel or like an inline 6 or something? Because, I mean, you know,
That's
Ford
true.
has that 3.0 diesel. I don't know if they still make it anymore. They have that 3.0 diesel that like sold, but mostly it was, I think, in fleet vehicles.
Yeah.
It wasn't a huge hit. It's
So
what do you think they're going to do?
a lot of people here think about Toyota, and us Americans, we think about our Toyota market, right? And they're gassers, right? We've got gas vehicles, and they've got some hybrid.
everyone in the U.S. just loves a V8.
Everybody in the U.S. just
Yeah,
loves a
that's
V8.
it.
Sure.
I'll tell you right now, I would love to see a V8 turbo diesel coming from Toyota. That would be
Absolutely.
psycho. But Toyota wouldn't do that. We're not tower hauler. That's not what we do.
Right.
But Toyota has been making tried and true diesel motors in their vehicles in every other country. They could easily make something for the American market that would not only be reliable, but would also give us that horsepower kick and even that fuel economy we're asking for.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd see the day where Tundra and fuel economy might be in like the same sentence, but
Yeah, even with these new ones, it's not.
It's not great.
it's just a,
Well, I feel like we are the worst people when people are like, "How are your fuel economy? How's your fuel economy?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, they're like, "You drove down." So for this expo last weekend, they're like, "You drove down from Utah to Flagstaff.
Yeah.
How was your fuel economy?" And I was like, "Well, the 4Runner is on 37-inch mud terrain tires, or 35-inch mud terrain tires, excuse me. So the gas mileage was just not good."
Well,
Yeah.
the crazy thing is too is the non-hybrids get better gas mileage than the hybrids.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? That extra horsepower nukes them.
interesting. I
Or
didn't
the
know that.
weight.
And
the
they're
weight of
like
that
a
battery
weight?
pack, yeah.
Is it like a
Well, yeah,
transmission mounted motor, or is it like a separate
for the electric motor? It's
for like the hybrid system?
Yeah, it's between the transmission and
Okay, I
the
see.
engine. So,
So,
but it's a power thing.
so you think they'll do a turbo diesel Tundra, not a turbo diesel Tacoma?
They're not cool
doing
enough.
it in,
We are not lucky enough to have a turbo diesel Tacoma.
Which is
that
yeah,
I'd
it
die.
sells well in every other part of the world, and people love it. But for some reason,
we have,
I've never.
we have California, so
Oh
we have-
yeah,
we
I
have
guess that's true.
California.
that'll never
New
happen,
York.
Yeah.
unfortunately.
I guess that answers my question then, because I just don't feel like a diesel Tundra. I mean, I know you would love that, but
I'm part of a very small niche
right,
that would like that.
I would think it was super cool too, but I also wouldn't be able to afford a diesel Tundra. Like, so how many people would actually buy it? You know, is it worth developing and on their end, kind of a thing?
I mean, I think you
I mean,
get
they're
people that
pure.
are scared away from the 3.4 V6 twin
Exactly.
turbo from the recalls.
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
It just gives them another option, but
That's true.
it's yeah, I don't know. It's interesting, and obviously we won't know until anything like comes out. And I mean, with
Right.
Toyota, we hear rumors all the time. Like,
It's true. Yeah.
It literally everything from new Celica, new MR2, diesel Tundra,
Yeah.
new body on frame truck. Like,
Right.
there's always something. And another thing to remember too is these OEMs are always producing like new stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you remember back in when the Ford Lightning came out.
Yeah.
the later gen. They were working
Yes, yeah.
on putting that powertrain into the Expedition, I believe. No.
No,
That was-
Expedition.
yeah,
is the
Not the
big
Expedition.
SUV.
What's
The large one,
the
the
smaller
Expedition?
one.
No, what's the
Oh.
smaller one? The police cruiser?
the
Explorer.
Explorer.
Yeah, Explorer.
They were thinking of putting one into the Explorer, and one was made.
Really?
It was going to be called the Ford Thunder,
Huh.
but the one was made and then it was never touched.
It's a concept.
It's really cool. There's actually
Okay.
a podcast about it. I think it's with Jay Leno, where he interviews somebody that was with
Yeah.
SVT at the time, and they're like, "Yeah,
Interesting.
we made one." And I think there's like one picture of it.
Really?
It exists. So like,
Well, it got
OEMs.
dismantled
And then it went to the
afterwards,
Sultan of
Yeah.
Brunei.
So
like everything
OEMs.
else.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
It's sitting somewhere in some
Yeah.
garage.
It's in Saudi Arabia.
But,
Seriously.
That's the thing, is these OEMs are making these cars, and they make development cars all the time.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Toyota
But the
can
problem
afford
with
it.
these development cars too is you can't make them street legal so most of the time.
Yeah,
They either
yeah.
get crushed
Yeah.
or they become race cars. So yeah, who knows? There's a lot of cool stuff that I'm sure they've made that
Yeah.
we don't know about. But
I do realize we have California, but I do think, give us the Hilux, or I think a Toyota Tacoma diesel would sell so well.
Yeah.
So well. But
that's true. It would.
it's America. That's what we get.
Hey, at least
But,
the new one sounds like a diesel a little bit.
That's kind of true.
That was the
Iron
first thing I
Pig.
noticed. The first thing I noticed when we got our new one, I'm like,
Yeah.
when we went up to CBI.
Yeah.
We went up to CBI to go look at, because they were one of the first people to get a 4th gen Tacoma.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this sounds like a diesel. It's weird,
Yeah.
but it does.
Or if your name's Colby, it sounds like
A Ford
a Ford Focus
RS.
ST
Yeah.
or RS. Yeah.
Hey, all I'm saying is,
Take
at
that as you will.
Expo, I turned that thing on when those Carvin guys came around. I bounced that thing off the limiter and listened to that truck pop.
I mean,
It's
listen,
so weird coming
It's
from
so weird
It is
coming
weird.
from that truck, but also, if you've ever driven one, they put a smile on your face. The turbo in those vehicles, I love it. Like
Oh, yeah.
you
It
get
is
into
cool.
the previous generations, and I'm like, and I'm in a tank.
Yep.
And
Yeah, that's slow.
I got in when I started working here for the first time. I got in the new 6th gen with Bassy Drive In, and I was like, wow, like we're actually going somewhere. Is that did
Going
we just
quick.
did we just hit 60?
Going quick.
That's that's new for me. And it sounds pretty decent too. Like Colby's actually, it really doesn't sound bad at all. He was, like you said, bouncing it off the rev limiter, and it just sounds good. He does donuts in that thing on the dirt, and he just
On
goes all day.
37s, it's
On
actually
37s
it'll
too.
spin 37s out.
Crazy to me.
It will be
Mind-boggling.
interesting once a regear kit comes out for those, just to see what
What they can actually
people are able
do.
to
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, back to your topic.
Yeah,
We
but
just keep screwing
kind
up.
of went on a little side rant there, but I want to talk about some of the reactions we've gotten on our Instagram post when we first kind of announced the news of the new TRD Wavemaker color, or Wave Crush, whatever you keep calling it.
Kahuna, big kahuna.
We got some Instagram comments here from our post announcing the new TRD. Now I'm thinking it's Wave Crush.
We can
What was
throw it up.
Surf Wave.
We can
Yeah.
throw up a
Wavemaker.
screen
I've got
of all their
screenshots.
comments.
Oh yeah, I've got screenshots. One person said, "Not bad. It's another. I really like it, just not on my truck kind of color, like the Solar Octane and the Lime Rush or Electric Lime. Kind of like what you were saying.
exactly.
100%.
Someone else said the only one it looks okay on is the Tacoma. The black breaks it up, which I actually heard from quite a few people. The Tundra, the 4Runner, and the Sequoia have way too much body color.
Here's the thing, and TRD John brought this up
Yeah.
on an Instagram video. I think part of the reason it looks better on the 4Runner and Tacoma, one, they're smaller vehicles, they kind of fit that style more.
For sure.
But two, the black, on the TRD Pro models at least, the fender flares are gloss black,
Yep.
and it's a gloss paint. So it looks better with that combo.
Yeah.
Whereas on the Tundra and or Sequoia, all the fender flares and everything are that kind of like digi camo
Yeah,
matte.
digi camo matte black.
And it doesn't look that
Here's
great.
what I think. You get the Tacoma because it just looks, it looks the best out of all of them in my opinion. You can't get the digi camo, which is great. You don't want the digi camo, in my opinion. But you still wrap the fenders like satin black. Like get satin PPF on them.
Yeah,
I think the gloss black with the gloss color, too much for me.
really.
The color is
think
too much in
I
the first
think it
place.
works.
I think
That's fair.
if you're wrapping anything with anything, I think you do a matte PPF on the whole truck, and I think that would change the color enough for me to love it.
Good, actually.
I was thinking about that.
I'd matte PPF the entire
That
truck.
The entire truck, fenders included, like or like the black fenders.
I think that.
Matte PPF the whole truck.
All right.
We're talking about just an easy $10,000.
Yeah,
drops
for sure.
Yeah,
Matt,
wasn't I just saying I would never spend $20,000 on portals?
But you will spend on
$10,000 on
PPF.
plastic.
for sure. I mean, if you're
PPF is worth it.
if you're buying
I
a
would
Tacoma
think.
for a TRD Pro, for how much are they going for now?
Like
Like
70?
80 markups included.
You're looking at
Half a
like
milli, you know.
$85,000 out the door.
Yeah,
right
so
around.
you're spending that much.
If
on
you're
a
spending
midsize,
$85,000 out the door, what's 95?
Right, you got the money to get some PPF on there. But yeah, we've gotten some mixed reviews. Another person said, "I will literally take out a loan for this tomorrow," which kind of shocked me.
Well, and
Like I mentioned earlier, sorry I cut you off, but like I mentioned earlier, with Toyota, there will always be a customer. There has never been a color that hasn't had a cult following. Name one color that doesn't have a specific Facebook group about that color.
That's very true.
yeah, even MGM, and I will never understand it.
All the people that don't like a gray or silver car, I just like it's.
I love
beautiful.
Underground, and I
It's
have
great.
a gray STI, but MGM just does not look good. I think.
MGM is one of the best colors that they've ever come out with.
I always so I forget, but the difference between MGM and Underground, and I think I
Totally.
talked right.
MGM is
Which-
like metallic.
MGM's metallic, so I think that's the one my dad used to have on his third gen.
It's very popular.
Which one of you I
It's
talked to?
Yeah, you were talking to me on our way back. From
I think it
Kingsville.
looked great on that. His was stock, so it looked fine.
Dude, it's
But,
literally gunmetal gray. What name a
Like-
more popular color than like that gunmetal?
Lime Rush. Come on.
No, that is a hot take.
we'll get into
so
that in a
bad.
minute.
Unpopular opinion.
Yeah,
So
very
bad.
unpopular here in the office. We'll get into that in a second. But someone else said that they feel like Toyota is supposed to be like earthy tones, and they were just like, "What is this?"
So I guarantee if you clicked on that person's account, they live in the Western United States, specifically guaranteed. It's
Should we check right now?
It's Utah,
Arizona.
Idaho, Arizona,
Yep.
Nevada, Colorado, Oregon. It's one of those that are
And they
talking all
own-
this earthy tones.
And they
Yeah.
own an Army Green Tacoma 411.
One of their cars is green. They're nowhere near the East Coast. For them to be like Toyota is earth tones is saying, I like Terra, I like Quicksand, I like Mudbath, I like Army Green, I
Right.
like the earth tone colors
Yeah.
because I live in a desert state.
For
Well,
sure.
and you see it happen. Like they go more earthy, muted
Yeah.
tones, and then they go something bright, and then they go more earthy.
Well, they're hitting
muted,
both markets.
bright,
Right, for
muted,
sure.
bright. So yeah,
So
I just think it's cool that they're coming out with these colors because if you think about it, manufacturers don't normally come out with super bright colors. Like
true.
I feel like we haven't seen something like this from like a more affordable manufacturer like Toyota since Dodge was doing crazy like
Chevy
yeah,
does
plum
it.
crazy purple.
Plum Crazy
Yeah.
Purple
Yeah,
and all these stuff
sure.
on the muscle cars in the
Yeah.
70s.
General Motors does it pretty good. General Motors on their
But can you think of like an entry level car?
Entry level car or
Well, I would
Has
call the
something like
TRD Pro
crazy.
an entry level car.
But that's the thing is eventually it will trickle down.
That's true.
like 4-door car, not like sports cars. We can't include.
Right. No, I'm saying on like the Chevy Colorado and the GMC Canyon, they have all of their basic colors, but on all of their top models, they have a yellow on the
Yeah,
Chevy
really.
Colorado, I believe.
Interesting.
It's like a metallic-y metal yellow. I think I've
I'm gonna look this
seen
up.
it.
Tyler's gonna fact check him real
Yeah,
quick.
fact check me really quick. But I was literally in the car with our videographer driving back from Expo, and we were talking about a yellow.
Oh,
and
I've
they
seen
came
that.
out with this yellow.
This is like freaking.
Okay, but this is like Chevy's Line
BMW.
Rush.
No, this is like the BMW.
Oh yes, yeah.
The
I know.
F80.
Yep, the F80
The
green,
F80
yellow mustard,
Austin
Yes.
yellow.
which he loves.
Yeah,
I think it looks good actually too,
that's my favorite.
especially on the M4s. We won't get into that. We'll keep it to Tacoma.
Yeah,
But,
we're a Toyota podcast.
yeah, we are.
Not good.
Yeah, I'm glad. I feel
So I can see why you like that.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Let's get into the history a little bit. Toyota
Yeah.
has been releasing, these TRD Pro colors for. So this is the 2026. So they've been doing 11 years. 12
Yeah.
years
The
kind of, because
first
they have
year
12
was-
colors now.
First year was
Yeah.
2015.
First year was
2015.
2015, and that was Inferno Orange,
Inferno, right? Which, yeah, we'll get into like kind of the timeline. The idea was originally just a marketing and branding move, which obviously
This
we
is
know
back
worked
when-
out great.
This was back when Ford Raptor was like
King.
like the first gen Raptor was the coolest thing ever, and this was Toyota trying to like jump into that.
Right.
And they did not. I remember when these came out. Was it like I think it was the Chicago Auto Show?
Yeah.
Yeah, that
It was
the
Chicago or
Chicago Auto Show.
it was Chicago or Detroit.
I think it's Detroit.
Probably. I figure
It was one of the
Because that
two.
was Detroit was like the big thing.
R.I.P. Detroit Auto Show.
All
See
auto
how
shows.
long-
But I
yeah.
remember when it came out, and I was thinking like, oh, this is cool. They're gonna go after the Raptor. And then you kind of look into it, and it's like, oh, like it's really just a TRD Sport and a TRD Off-Road
Right,
just
yeah.
combined. But
Yeah.
like it's not touching a Raptor. But it was cool,
Yeah.
and you did get some fancy upgrades.
Yeah. So I mean, what kind of upgrades did you get? Because Inferno came out on the second gen, right?
No, it was the
Inferno came
fifth
out on the second gen Tacoma,
Right.
Second
Fifth gen
gen Tacoma,
4Runner.
fifth gen 4Runner.
Yes.
second gen Tundra.
Oh, I didn't realize. Yeah, I guess they were sold at the same time, huh?
Yeah.
They're still teaching me a lot, but so like, what upgrades did you get with?
You got
Well, it was
upgraded.
standard
So
TRD package.
on the Tundra, it didn't really come with anything
Uh-huh.
other than like some new seats, a new color. The suspension was the same.
But let's be
everything
honest,
was
when
the same.
has the Tundra ever been there? Like, this is our off-road model.
That's yeah.
But it's just kind of annoying because if you think about it, like, and as the TRD Pro has
Evolved.
gone on, it's gotten better. But
For sure.
like, if you think about it, you look at what Ford has done with the F-150, where you can get a Baja truck from factory, and Ram even did it with the TRX, and we have yet to see anything like that from Toyota until the Pro Tacoma came out. I think the Pro Tacoma is getting that realm. But
I would argue and say that we haven't seen any of that until the fourth gen Tacoma.
no, that's what I'm saying. The
Okay.
fourth gen Tacoma,
Yeah, yeah.
because the third gen Tacoma, like,
Was great.
You got
upgraded Fox shocks.
it literally took everything you got from a sport and an off-road and put it in one package.
Exactly.
But that was it. Like, it wasn't anything crazy. And the Fox shocks didn't even come till later.
That's true.
Like,
Yeah,
it's
it was
never
on the later
always
models.
come with
It was
Fox shocks. It used to be
Bilsteins.
Bilstein.
Yep. Yeah.
So it's never been like, it's been a really cool package to get, and you get like all the like cool, like the Heritage grill and whatever. And like on the Tacoma, the second gen Tacoma, you got the Bilstein shocks. I think it was like 5160s.
Yeah.
Which is actually what I have on my truck right now. But it was the same kind of shock package that came on the TX Baja Pro, which was a trim they did for 2014.
Yeah.
But you didn't like, it wasn't like that much to set it apart.
Yeah.
Now it's different. Now you get three-way adjustable Fox shocks, new uppers, hydraulic bump stops in the rear, and in the Tacoma you get the cool fancy seats.
Yeah, the isodynamic seats.
But you get more upgrades now than you used to.
For sure. I think Toyota, they're a major company. Cost is important to them. And it has taken 11 years for them to realize that there is a market for the souped up Tacoma, right? Think of, I mean, obviously Ford and Ram, right? Those are very American household names, right? Those are the big dogs around here, right? If Ford and Ram come out with a Baja running crazy truck, that's on par, especially for Ram, right? If Toyota drops one, they risk to run the fact against their market. I know we would love a Baja truck like that.
For sure.
And Toyota's been running the Baja successfully for years and years and years. I just don't think that there was initially a market in the beginning.
Well, yeah, there wasn't a market. Ford was the only one that even took the gamble on that originally.
And I mean,
so,
it paid off.
It
The
paid
most famous truck is a Ford Raptor.
Yeah.
Seems like anybody in our lives that get money, the first thing they do is get a Raptor.
It's
Especially here in
hard
Utah.
because even now at the 4th gen Tacoma TRD Pro, like there is a lot more that sets it apart from the other trim levels.
For sure.
But then you look at what Ford's doing with the Ranger Raptor,
Yeah.
and what Chevy's doing with the ZR2 Bison,
Yep.
and it's like, oh, is it really like that? And it's been a while since I've seen how it competes to all three, and I've heard good things about the new TRD Pro, but it is a lot of money.
It is a lot of money
than the other two.
I mean, the Tacoma has been the best-selling mid-size truck for
a long
15 years now, I think. So I don't think Toyota necessarily looks at the Bison or the Ranger Raptor and says, well, I mean, if they start surpassing us in sales, maybe we'll do something. But for now, I think we're okay.
We'll think about the original Ranger.
GR Tacoma.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be insane.
That would be cool.
The
GRD.
am waiting for the day that TRD Sport is rebranded and they do a GR off-road and a GR.
Yeah.
Yes.
I will say, though, that Toyota, it may look like they're behind, but especially with the Tacoma, I would say that they're the leader. I think that all other truck platforms, let's go back to the original Rangers and like the C10s or what like the Colorado is now. All of those have conformed to the Tacoma platform.
Right.
Mid-sized, 4-door, 5-foot bed.
Yep. I agree. I think kind of the Colorado, the Ranger, all the mid-sized trucks have kind of shaped into, what the Tacoma, I don't want to say pioneered, but maybe made popular. I don't know, maybe pioneered. But next, I kind of want to move on to going through a little more of the history about it. We established that it started back in 2015 with Inferno, which we will put pictures of each of these colors up as we kind of go along. We then had 2016 had Quicksand, 2017 had Cement, 2018 was Cavalry Blue, 2019 was Voodoo Blue, 2020 was Army Green, 2021 Lunar Rock, 2022 Electric Lime or Lime Rush, which we found out depending on if you got a 4Runner in that color or a Tacoma in that color, it was either called Electric Lime or Lime Rush. They're different paint codes too.
That's very interesting.
And that's the only color on this list that they've done that for. They look the same. I mean, I guess I've never seen them side by side.
I've actually never
like
seen
identical.
a 4Runner in that
Really?
color. I've only seen
I've seen a
Tacomas
4Runner in the color.
There's one that parks down the street here.
Really?
Yeah. I've only seen 4Runners. I've never seen a Tacoma in it, other than I guess
I've seen one
pictures.
Tacoma. It was at the dealership before the 4th gen came out, but that was it. So not too many of them.
Give me an Electric Lime or a Lime Rush 4Runner or Tacoma. Put that thing on 35s and silver like monoblock. What do you call them? Billet looking wheels. I'll take it all day, every day. They hate me for it, but
Yeah, I'd never.
I think it's great.
You have a lot to learn.
I would never.
But yeah, so they were technically two different paints, but we'd never seen them side by side. Maybe one day we will. And then we went to Solar Octane in 2023. Last year, 2024 was Terra, and now we have Wavemaker. So based on what you guys have seen, what not personal opinions yet. We'll get into those, but just what you've seen in like our community, our Tacoma Lifestyle community online. What do you think are kind of the fan favorites, the least popular, and like the ones that have aged the best so far?
Fan favorites are easy. Fan favorites is Terra, Quicksand, Army Green.
Really?
Cavalry Blue.
Cav Blue, yeah. Cav Blue is sick. I think those four capture like pretty much the general like consensus. I've heard people not love Quicksand. I've never heard someone say they don't like the Army Green.
Yeah, it's interesting because I actually like Mudbath better than Quicksand, but for some reason Quicksand's the one that everyone talks about still.
I like Mudbath better as well. I just feel like it's the evolution of Quicksand.
Yeah.
Just made it a little bit better.
Interesting.
But I still think that the best looking 5th gen 4Runner is the TRD Pro in Quicksand. I don't think there's did they make a Mudbath 5th gen?
What, did you say 2015?
No, when the 6th gen or when the 5th gen came out in Mudbath.
Yeah.
It's such a rare 4Runner to see
in Quicksand.
I'm saying Mudbath.
There's too many.
5th gen in
There's
Quicksand.
too many.
In Quicksand.
TRD Pro.
Wow, yeah. So TRD Pro, 4Runner,
Yes.
Quicksand,
5th gen.
5th gen. Looks
I see.
best.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you liked Mudbath better.
I do.
Okay.
I do like
You're
Mudbath,
just
but it's
saying
unavailable on the 5th gen.
Yeah.
That's true. J-Mac, what do you think? Fan favorites, least popular?
I agree with the fan favorites. I would say the least popular ones are going to be Lime Rush, Electric Lime, Metallic.
Yeah.
Inferno.
It's weird because Inferno has some people that love it, and it's just...
Well, that argument could be made about Lime Rush, too, because there's some die-hard Lime Rush.
But I think there's more people that like Inferno than Solar Octane.
I posted something on
Solar Octane is...
No, but, I mean, I posted something on Tacoma Lifestyle of a crashed Lime Rush Tacoma here, just on off of 15.
Oh, yeah.
And all the comments were like, not the Lime Rush Tacoma, there's so few of them. I think that, like, it's just a constant in these car communities that whenever there's a limited number of something or an unpopular something,
right,
there's going to be a cult following
for sure.
Like the ugliest car of all time, the PT Cruiser.
PT Cruiser
has a cult following.
The Yugo.
Yeah.
Pontiac Aztec.
Or the Buick Aztec.
The Pontiac Aztec.
Pontiac Aztec.
The Prowler. Who made the Prowler?
I actually saw one the other day. And I was
really?
An Aztec?
Canyon. No. Plymouth Prowler.
Was it the one with the trailer?
No, it didn't have the trailer on it.
Okay, there is one that has a trailer in it.
It did. From factory, you could get the trailer for it.
Yeah.
But I saw one driving down the canyon. It was purple.
Yes. Okay, that guy has the trailer.
Oh, does he?
Yeah.
It was actually so sick. I actually love those cars.
Okay, don't hate me.
See?
But the Aztec isn't that bad.
I think
the idea behind the Aztec is dope.
Well, I mean, the Cybertruck came out, and you look at the Aztec, and you're like, yeah.
They're very similar.
Bad, you know?
They're very similar.
But, yeah, okay. It's so interesting just to see, like, the fan favorites compared to, like, my personal favorites, and, like, I feel like I missed a memo somewhere or something on how I should be ranking these.
Yeah, Lime Rush is crap.
Okay, hold on.
I'm sorry if you had a Lime Rush, 4Runner, Tacoma, or they didn't make it in the Tundra for good reason. But it's a bright color, and the funny thing is I'm a huge Viper guy, and they made a striker green for the 5th gen.
Well, again,
Viper.
that's sports cars.
But
like
that, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so cool. The second I see one on a Tacoma or 4Runner,
if it's stock, crap. I will say. No, it does not look good.
We're drawing a big circle. We're drawing a big circle around. There is only one good-looking Lime Rush Tacoma, and it's Emmanuel's.
Yeah, his is good.
Emmanuel Beltrain, like that dude, took an ugly platform, but he had the TRD Pro, and that. I mean, I think that's the coolest 3rd gen Tacoma in the country.
It's pretty sweet.
It's built bumper to bumper. There's not a single thing that he could do to that thing.
What's it called?
Portals.
Yeah, I probably is on his.
I think I found it.
Yeah,
Emmanuel Beltrain.
Wow, I actually spelled his name right. That's cool.
He's
everything you can do except portals.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah. So
here's gonna be the. I think where we disagree a lot. I want you guys to rank all of the TRD Pro colors.
Well, it's really easy for me because you can just go to our website and go to our blog where I've ranked them all already and done all the hard work there. So a little bit of bias if you've seen that post.
Okay, rank them right now for me. Rank them
right now.
Yeah.
Okay, I need them all sitting in front of me though.
Okay.
Off the dome piece.
I was gonna say.
Do you want my computer?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go through.
I don't want to show you my list because you'll.
So
throw my computer at me.
Here's my list.
Okay.
Army Green is at the top.
Army Green.
Number 1.
Okay.
Number 2 is Mudbath.
Okay.
Mudbath.
3, Lunar Rock.
Let's back up. Let's set some ground rules. Are we doing stock or can we factor in built out ones? Because there are colors.
No Tacoma or 4Runner was ever born to stay stock.
Let's just
say that.
Okay.
I think the stock color, because anytime you build up a vehicle, obviously it's going to look better.
Right.
Building a vehicle is just enhancing the look of the vehicle.
Okay.
I say stock.
So Army Green, Mudbath,
Lunar Rock.
If you can
This
name
actually
all
might
of them
be
off
different.
the dome.
This might be different from my list, but that I posted. I would have to say Cavalry Blue.
Cav Blue.
Okay.
Then Terra.
Really?
Then I would go probably cement.
Okay.
And then, let's see. Cement. Probably throw a voodoo blue in there. Then...
I see. Let me text you the list of this.
No, I can go through the whole thing. I got all of it.
I got it.
You got the
So
list?
voodoo blue.
I think.
Then I would do the new one, Wave Maker.
Wave Maker. Okay.
Then I would do probably Quicksand.
Quicksand.
Then Inferno.
You just skipped out on cement?
No,
Cement
cement
was
is
on
number
there.
one. Hold on. Let me move these up.
So what did I say? I went Quicksand, Inferno.
So you have at number 1, you have Army, Mudbath, Lunar Rock, Cavalry Blue, Terra, Cement, Voodoo, Wave Maker, Quicksand, and then Inferno.
I'd
is at
actually
number
probably
10.
put Quicksand above Wave Maker. So
Okay.
Quicksand, Wave Maker, Inferno, Solar Octane, Lime Rush, Electric Lime Metallic.
Hold on. Okay, so
That should be all
Inferno,
of
Solar Octane,
Inferno, Solar Octane, and
Lime
then
Rush?
Lime Rush, whatever it's called.
Okay.
I think that's all of them.
I think that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, all of them.
Yeah, that's my list.
Okay,
Jordan's just got all the colors off his head.
that's crazy.
That is crazy.
All right, Bass, let's hear it.
Okay. So I give Army Green the number 1 spot.
Really?
Yeah. Army
Just so
Green goes
good.
number 1. Number 2 goes Mudbath.
Okay.
Number 3, Cement.
Ooh,
Number 4, Terra.
wow.
Number 5, Lunar Rock.
Okay.
Number 6, Cement.
No, you already said
Oh, I
something.
You already said Cement,
Okay,
yep.
okay. Then Quicksand.
Okay.
Then the hot take. Then we go Inferno.
Okay.
Then Solar Octane.
Okay.
Then Cav Blue.
Wow, you really don't like blue.
Then Voodoo Blue.
Yeah. Here we go.
Then Wave Maker.
And then the last is
There's
going to
two-
be.
there's
Then
two
there's
more.
2 more. It'll probably go
Wave Maker.
Wave Maker, Lime Rush.
Wow.
I just. The color blue has no business on a truck. Now, I love.
But it has more business being on a truck than Lime Rush. Is what you're saying?
Yes, because that's just a Cracker Jack toy. It's just, it's not.
All right.
If built right, it's cool. But blue has no business on a truck.
Okay. I'm gonna.
Aside from like a dark blue. They've made some dark blues in like the past.
Uh-huh.
They look great.
I don't like the Nautica blue.
Yeah,
I know which one
Nautica
you're
blue.
referring to, and I don't like it.
I think the nautical blue is fine.
There's a couple, when I was living in Provo, there was one on a 4Runner that had like bronze SSW wheels. It actually like looked okay, but I just couldn't do it. And then I don't know if they did nautical blue in the Tundra, but there was some second gen Tundra rolling around that was like a blue.
Yeah.
That looked alright.
I like the color blue. And I like Cav blue is a cool color and
Yeah.
would look dope on a 911. But
Yes.
not on my Tacoma.
Okay. Yeah, I understand that. I'm putting my list next to your guys's right now.
I think I know why you like Lime Rush so much.
I'll give you $10 if you can actually guess.
You're a big Python green guy, aren't you? I know
Python
it's
green.
different.
Python green's different.
It's a lot darker, isn't it?
Yes.
I figured
you're on
that's-
the right track though.
Does
For
Porsche have a
context,
color
let's
that's
tell
green?
everybody
Perry
that
dot
doesn't know
metallic
Python.
green.
Oh,
It honestly, I'll probably put them side by side and they will be so different. But that is.
I was gonna say because I know Python green is darker. Green is darker, but I figured like, oh, he's a Porsche guy. He probably likes that. So this is just the closest thing to that.
Well, you're gonna see Perry dot metallic green, and you're gonna be like, "What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That color's even worse." Like,
Oh,
but
gosh.
for some reason, I love it.
How many TRD Pro second gens are there still going around in
Tacomas?
this Inferno Tacoma? I feel like they're
Not
rare.
many.
I've never seen one in person.
I've seen a
is there,
few.
Is there one that's sold recently? How much? I'm curious to see what it's
There's
sold
a
for.
photo of one
idea.
on this blog, on our Tacoma Lifestyle blog, and it's actually like a really good looking truck.
Oh yeah, no, the second gen TRD Pro was amazing.
The second gen TRD Pro is, I mean, on this blog we go from a second gen TRD Pro, and then the photo is of a quicksand TRD off road.
Mm-hmm.
I would take the second gen over this quicksand.
Oh.
Like,
All right, I've got my list.
I don't think any have ever crossed Bring a Trailer, but we're about to find out.
Yeah. If you have one,
I feel like
and
it's
you want to sell
low-key
it,
niche enough, right? At this point, right?
There were four.
or
Four second gen.
Four?
Tacomas?
No. 4 that have ever crossed Bring a Trailer.
really Infernos.
No, none of them are even pros. They're all, it's a
Oh.
sport
Wow.
limited.
And what made them worthy to be on Bring a Trailer? Just low mileage,
Probably
or
just
what?
low, 16K miles, $32,000.
2015. I kind of want to look this up.
2015.
2015. See if I can find one for sale.
San Diego, California, November 2023. Is second owner 2015 Tacoma TRD Pro Inferno
35.
with 31,000 miles, sold for 36,500.
that was close.
Truck featured a snorkel, retractable bed cover, and step bars. Houston, Texas, a couple months ago in February 2025, actually.
Okay.
One owner, all
Okay, wait.
original,
How many miles?
a lot.
How
Well, for
how, ma-
Tacoma,
How many miles? Because this one, the other.
156.
Okay, but the other one had a snorkel on it,
Yeah.
which they didn't come factory with.
156K.
Were you looking at the one on
This
Facebook
one was
Marketplace?
probably 32.3.
No, lower.
Really?
Yep. 156,000 miles.
What is wrong with this?
24/7.
$21,000. It had a clean
Wow.
title, no accidents.
I guess it
although
is like high mileage.
it required a passenger coil spring replacement, and the vehicle was later sold for $20,000 flat in 2017
I
in
don't think it
Hampton, New
says.
Jersey. So only 2 years after.
They didn't do a leather interior on the TRD Pros in 2015?
Dude, the second gen Tacoma was the most bare bones
Yeah.
of the generations of Tacoma. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know, first gen Tacoma, but like the interiors were so bad.
Yeah.
It's like the one gripe I have with my truck
Mhm.
is the interior is just like
Bad.
ugly. It's so ugly. The truck looks great. 2.5 gen, second gen Tacomas are slept on, and they look amazing.
2.5 gen
They're so
TRD
just
Pro and
perfect.
Inferno orange would be sick.
Yeah.
But not for 30 grand. Because screw that.
Well,
35 grand.
okay.
is
Last
crazy.
guess. So a pristine 2015. This was in 2017, so not long after. Pristine 2015 TRD Pro in Inferno with only 6,500 miles. How much do you think it was?
So this one
It
was
sold
60
in 2017.
Yeah.
It's
Had a
sub
shell.
30.
Had a shell,
the
a
shell's
I don't
gonna
know what a
hurt
backflip. Oh,
The shell's gonna add
G2
5K
tonneau
to
cover,
it.
and had never been driven in winter.
It was a tonneau cover or a shell? Soft or hard?
Said a backflip G2 tonneau cover,
Yeah,
but then it said a Lear 100R shell.
So two
Oh,
shells.
that's what I have. But it's never been driven in the winter.
Never been driven in the winter, but this was in 2017, so not long after.
So it
was
wasn't. It was before COVID. So it was before everything went crazy. So it was probably like. At how many miles? 50 something, 60 something.
6,500.
Somebody sold this thing. It was probably like 26.5.
23.3.
Really, sold
You say 30?
for
I'm gonna lose my mind.
30,000.
Gosh.
Not even $37,500.
Who spent 40K on a Tacoma in
2 years.
2017?
2 years after it was new, by the way.
Who
You
is
could
this
buy
guy?
a new one.
40K?
Yeah.
You could buy a new
Back then,
Pro.
you could have bought a brand
Yep.
new Pro.
Like you would have had to
Yeah.
spend a couple grand more, I think.
Oh, just wait. A heavily modified TRD Pro and Inferno with 182,000 miles.
Oh, this one
date
was like-
unspecified.
This was a $19,000 car.
Is that what you think, K-Bass? What do you think?
No. He said just wait. It's going to be
Heavily-
more.
heavily
40K.
modified.
Heavily modified. It included 2-inch suspension lift, ARB snorkel, camper shell with LED lights, roof rack,
That's
brush
heavy.
guard, and TRD exhaust.
That's heavily modified.
This is he sold it for this much, or
Well,
he listed it for this much?
42.7.
Just guess.
42.
42.
I'm
Whoa,
going
no.
low.
It's
I'm going
lower.
low.
It's got nearly 200,000 miles.
I'm going low. I'm going 19,000.
Okay.
because he's probably like thinking like, oh yeah, it's got all this stuff put into it. Nate does this when he talks about selling his car. Sorry, Nate. It's got this much put into it, but it has this many miles. I think I could do this much.
26.
26?
Wow.
You're both kind of close, but Bassie's closer. $24,995.
People are ridiculous.
But
Okay, so I thought that these TRD Pros were cool, but now looking at the money I'd have to spend, $35,000 to get one of these.
well, that
could
was a
get 'em-
pristine one.
No.
Like,
The one that I just saw that was in Fayetteville, Arkansas, $35,000. It had 95,000 miles on it, or actually I think it's 59.
Jeez.
It had 59,000 miles on it, which is not very much. 59K.
oh my gosh.
59,000 miles on it, which is low. For $35,000. $35,000.
Did he sell it for that much? Or is it listed?
That's what it's listed.
Okay,
So
well,
$35,000, I could go out and I could buy a first-gen Tundra.
you could get portals.
I could. You could. A set of portals.
You get
I could go out
portals.
buy a first-gen Tundra, rehaul the suspension, and buy 2 dirt bikes. And I'd have an Overlander that comes with dirt bikes.
True. All right, let's bring it back here. You guys ready to hear my sacrilege list?
Are we ready to make fun of you?
put- Lime Rush.
I mean,
Yeah,
I know
you
you
go.
are, but
It's gonna go like this. It's gonna go Lime Rush,
nope,
Wave Maker,
nope.
Cav Blue.
Oh no,
Voodoo
I
Blue.
hate Wavemaker.
That is
no.
shocking.
Did I shot those all down?
It's different on
I was
a
actually
truck.
at a Bees game last night, and we were talking about the Pro colors actually. And their group I was with, they really liked Wavemaker and would buy it. I was kind of surprised by that.
Interesting.
But, can you guess what gender they were?
Girls.
Yeah, they were both girls.
Oh,
yeah, no, they were both girls, and they both were like, "Oh yeah, I'd buy it,"
Huh.
which makes sense.
For sure.
But it's
I mean,
exactly what
yeah,
we
Okay,
talked
but a
about
girl can
earlier.
get away with anything.
true.
Realistically, as a guy, you can drive whatever you want, though. Okay, let's hear your list.
Okay. At the top,
Okay.
Voodoo Blue.
Ew. Number 1, Voodoo Blue.
I think it's
You know,
the
I
most,
thought the same
hold
thing
on,
when
hold
I
on.
first started getting
I-
into Toyotas, too. ahead.
I think it's well-rounded, and like I used to be a detailer.
Okay.
So I love paints that hold up, like clear coat that holds up, and they're different clear coats depending on which paint you get. So that I factor that in personally, and I've had experience with every single one of these paints. So I'm ranking it based on a number of different factors here. So keep that in mind. I do think it looks great though. Okay. Then cement.
Solid.
Then electric lime rush.
Ew.
Top 3. Then Inferno.
Okay.
Lunar Rock. I don't know if I actually love where I put this next one. I might have to rank it lower. I'm going to put it lower. The next real one is Mud Bath.
Okay.
I might put it higher, but I haven't seen it in person yet. Then Quicksand. Then Solar Octane. Then Cavalry Blue. Then... Oh, I'm switching it up last minute. Then Terra. Then Army
Why?
Green. Then Wavemaker.
Like, totally flipped.
I know.
Yeah, that's wild.
I just
Yeah.
hate the muted colors.
Yeah, like you put Lunar
I-
Rock, Terra,
Yeah.
and Cav Blue at the bottom of your list. And those are like the best of those muted.
Well, okay, hold on.
Like
No. Lunar Rock and Cement are my personal favorite muted ones. By far.
That's crazy.
Like,
it's crazy you don't like Army Green. Army
It's crazy you put Solar
Baby
Octane
Poop
up above.
Green. It was Solar Octane was actually the higher one above Mud Bath, but then I was like, no, that's ridiculous.
Army
So I had to
Green
move
is
it down.
like if
Army Green
Army
is
Green would be a sick pickup right now.
I would love to get an Army
on the
Green truck.
Forerunners. Looks great. Like you remember Aiden's? His was Army Green, right?
Yeah.
His looks great. On the 5th gens, on the 3rd gens,
Even
I don't
better.
know what it is. No,
Yeah, I love the way
hate
they
it.
look on the
Even
trucks.
better.
Really?
I
The
love the way
second
they
gen
look on the
Tundra
Tacomas.
and Army Green.
Okay.
Was so sick.
So sick.
I saw an SR5 Tundra in Army Green, and SR5 is like the lower model.
I think it
but
looks better.
looked dope.
I think it looks better on Tundra.
Yeah.
Than the Tacoma by far.
I'd pick one up for sure.
I'd pick up one from any of them. Tacoma, 4Runner, anything.
Yeah. I mean, I get it, but it's just not, I don't know. It's too, too deep and rich for an army green. Like, this, to me, is like army green.
Yeah, but how are you going to put denim green on your truck?
You're not. That's why it's not supposed to be there.
Yeah.
I feel like green, especially that deep green, is like from the beginning of automotive paint jobs. That type of green
you
has
think
been around.
Willie's Jeep, though, but Willie's Jeep green is less saturated.
Well, because they couldn't make it darker.
Fair.
What is the most famous, one of the most famous sports car colors?
He's talking about British Racing Green.
There's not
Again,
a car
we're
lineup
comparing
out there.
sports cars to
There's
trucks
not
here.
a car out there that doesn't have a army green, because it just looks great on everything. Army green Porsche or Miami blue Porsche.
Miami blue Porsche.
British Racing Green all day long.
That's different.
Yeah, it is different, but
British Racing Green is metallic.
all right.
Okay, moving on. All right. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, we are going to do a quick hot take segment. What are your hot takes with the colors, with the new 4th gen, anything? You have any?
Hottest take of all that we could say about the new Tacoma is with main cameras right here. The inline 4 with the single turbo is better than the V6 ever was or ever could be.
Yep.
Hot take.
And it doesn't even have to have the hybrid system in it. Honestly,
It doesn't
might
need.
be,
I
might be
actually
better
prefer
without it.
without the hybrid
It is
system.
better without it, I think.
I take it without the hybrid system. It is peppier, more comfortable to drive. There's more of a driver's experience, I would argue, because it sounds better. I am all for the new powertrain and transmission.
I really like the engine. I wouldn't say it's the best part about the vehicle, though. I think the transmission is better. I think the transmission does a lot more for that engine
It's true.
than people think. But going along, the powertrain is the best thing about the car. So
100%.
It's valid.
I've driven both, and honestly, I just got back from driving probably 100 miles. I drove all the way up to Salt Lake and back, and maybe a little less than 100 miles, but took our 4Runner, and it just slugged all the way up there.
yeah, they're not fast. Not
And
at
it
all.
just isn't. I mean, it's still a great car, and it runs, and is just an incredible vehicle. But I love the new gen so much better. It's so nice. And when they first came out, when I first was going out with it with you, and we were talking about them.
That was the first thing I
Remember
noticed.
me? I was saying I was like, yeah, I mean, it kind of drives cooler, but I just don't love this or I don't love that. Over the past few months of just driving the new 6th gen or driving the new generations of these Tacomas, I'm sold. 100% sold. Much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still remember when we drove the Tacoma up at CBI, and that was the very first thing I noticed. Before we even got out of the parking lot, I could tell it just drove better.
Yeah.
The vehicle.
100%.
Obviously, there are things that I don't like about the new vehicles.
Yeah.
The massive digital gauge cluster being first and foremost. I'm not a fan of digital gauge clusters.
Tell me how they're going to put an
Just
analog
put an
gauge
old analog
cluster. Tell me
in
how you're
it.
going to put an analog gauge cluster on a 2025 vehicle.
Ask Bugatti.
That's compare 959s, Carrera GTs, and 918s.
Yeah,
now
we're
he's,
talking about everyday drivers, and he's bringing up
Everyday drivers,
Pagani one-offs or something crazy like that.
Bugatti is
Listen,
different than a
Bugatti, Pagani, those companies, they design those cars to be timeless, right? And that's why they have analog clocks and analog meters, because that's in the past.
Everything
right?
is too digital now. It's so dumb.
Well, they have screens. They just fold down. Which
He's acting
true,
like
you can
digital
choose.
is new.
yeah,
Honda's been throwing digital displays in their car since 2005.
it is
guy.
harder to
Or
find
earlier than that.
an affordable car without a digital gauge cluster now. I feel like than it is to find one with an analog.
Oh, and it's so annoying. What do you
What?
think? I'm interested to hear your choice. Do you prefer digital or analog?
For an overlanding
For
vehicle,
just yeah.
Why does it like?
Okay, so
I understand for a sports car why you'd want analog over digital.
I'd much rather have analog for my. It's just one
For a
less thing to
sports
break.
car, I'd be like, okay, analog, let's run it. But because it matters, your RPMs matter.
I personally, like, sure, I love my analog gauge cluster and my Porsche and everything, but I think it's cool. Apple just released the CarPlay Ultra with Aston Martin the other day. And like it takes over your gauge cluster, you can customize the theme and everything.
That's
like
so bad.
Yeah, sure, I'll take that.
That's so bad.
I don't like that. I don't think we should
thing.
give Apple another thing.
I love CarPlay. I can't live without it.
I can't. You just look at the gauge clusters. You look at here's another thing that I hate about the TRD Pros, especially the pumped-in noise is so
bad. Yes.
dumb. It's so dumb. Stetson will go there with his Tundra and be like, my Tundra sounds so cool. I'm like, yeah, because you're inside and you're hearing the noise of a V8 pumped into your truck.
Sounds like car from SpongeBob.
It's so bad. It's just go back to just basic stuff. I think this is just a society thing in general. We're just so tech obsessed that cars are becoming more like an iPad. Like, here's your new feature. Instead of it being like a car.
Yeah.
Like, I have to have a massive 14-inch screen.
J-Mac represents a great deal of Toyota owners.
That's why the Ineos Grenadier, fantastic vehicle.
Accustomed to 15 years of the same thing and one update with a minor touchscreen modification and is split. Just desperately attached.
I'm split because the engine and transmission, phenomenal. Great. Awesome. The hybrid, I don't know. I think hybrid technology is awesome. It's great for performance. Don't get me wrong, if you're building a performance car, that is the way to go. I don't think there's anything better than a hybrid system. But as far as the interior and stuff goes, yeah, get rid of the screens. Another thing, too, that I will say, the interiors on these trucks, they look amazing at first. They will not... I do think reliability is a concern with the interior, because you look at our Tundra, the seat's already falling apart. You look
that's completely unrelated. That is completely unrelated.
I thought it was, but then I was talking to Blake because he was detailing it. He's like, "Oh yeah, I've had 4 of these Tundras have the exact same thing." So and just the feel I
think we
TRD John made a great point as well in his videos. In the 3rd gen Tacoma, all of the TRD Pro stuff, it had soft touch. In the new one, you just don't even get soft touch in it. So it's
that's true.
And you see this across the board with new cars. The look looks good, but it's like IKEA. It's maybe it looks fine, but it's cheap.
Interesting. I like it. It feels much more rubberized and firm to me than the other ones were not comfy or I didn't feel great sitting in. And these new ones just feel so much better.
The seats are great. I'll say the seats.
I love the dash. I love the grab handles, that rubberized texture, whatever they got, and our 6th gen, our off road. I don't know. I'll have to try.
I think that there's something you touched on. I'll talk about this first. That you talk about the tech and how you don't like the tech, yet you come in and say, the best thing that's happened to this car is the tech advancement of getting a new transmission and a new engine.
I wouldn't call it a tech thing, though.
Okay,
because turbos aren't a new thing.
It's not, but it's you asked for a ground up rebuild. They gave you a ground up rebuild, and now you want the analog. You want to pick and choose. There's only one thing on the interior of the new Tacoma that I don't like.
Which is?
The back seat. And I mean, you can't really complain too much for a full-size truck, but one of the biggest complaints people had, so much so that there were kits that solved this problem, is my Tacoma front seats in the 3rd gen are so uncomfortable. Everybody would be like, my seats are so uncomfortable, so much so that we had to come up with seat jackers to move things up and make these seats more comfortable, right? So what does Tacoma do? They redesign, come out with a new seat that's way more comfortable, but it's bigger.
Yeah.
Right?
No room.
Which sucks. And I hate that there's no back seat. Personally, I don't drive around more than me and my fiance very often. But one of my favorite things about my 1st gen Tundra was that when I do need to put somebody in the back seat, I don't have to move my driver's position.
Right. Yeah.
I can sit and drive around and have them in the back seat of my truck. And I know, obviously, the Tundra at that time especially was marketed as a full-size truck.
Yeah.
I think the only major problem is the back seat with the Tacoma.
Mm-hmm.
I love the tech, the big screen. Say what you will about a big screen, but yeah, maybe around town it's not necessary.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're on a long car trip like we just went on, how nice is it to have like my music up and then I can click on it and my map is all up and we're driving through and I have this massive map.
You can control the lights with it too.
Yeah.
Like
my lights are hooked up to it. It's like it's so dope.
Which we won't get into.
Yeah, I mean, that's not.
It is a first generation. There are a couple bugs with everything. We'll touch on that.
It's the future.
I do want to wrap up here. The last thing I will say about these interiors is I think, again, like, you know, same with kind of the colors on the exterior of the vehicle. You guys and I feel like look at it with different perspectives. Comfort, obvious, you know, we both share that in mind. I haven't experienced the backseat of the new 4th Gen Tacoma yet, but I've heard it's unanimously bad.
You don't want to.
The way I do look at it, though, is I love it, not only because I do love, you know, my screens and stuff. I will say I don't need the big, 12-inch something screen?
14 inches.
14
Oh my gosh. Give me an 8-inch CarPlay screen, I'm fine. I don't care if it's a digital gauge cluster or not. Cool if it is. But from a cleaning perspective, like my detailing background, that interior, I look at that and I'm like, wow, this is going to be so much, like, miles better to clean than the 5th gen or the 3rd gens.
Well, these things are meant to take off-road.
Well, yeah.
And so they're meant to take off-road, so they should be easier to clean, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Like, when we clean them up, like, I used to look at 5th gens and 3rd gens, and I would almost turn people down because, you know, maybe that says something about my skills as a detailer, but I looked at it and I was like, no thanks. I don't want to, they just are hard and they scratch, the plastics would scratch easy and these ones just don't give me that feel. So that's my thoughts on that. I do want to wrap up here. We covered the Wavemaker color. We have some back and forth thoughts about it.
Great color, wouldn't buy.
Great color, wouldn't buy.
Overall, that's the consensus.
That's what we're here.
Amazing color.
We covered our thoughts on portal axles. Somehow we got there.
Cool, never buy.
Cool, never buy.
Yet
for different reasons.
To come down.
Yet, although, if you produce portal axles and want to send us some, we would be happy to install them on our 5th gen.
You might be happy to install them.
Well,
I ain't touching them.
I'm not
me and Janak would be happy to make Bassy install.
I'm not installing. Just right after he installs Stetson's headlights.
We also covered some potential rumors about the Tundra diesel option that Bassy and JMac heard at Overland Expo this last weekend, as well as touching on some potential FJ Cruiser teasers, which apparently we'll hear about in the next 10 years, maybe. Based on what you said, JMac.
I did see Jalopnik post. No, it was the Drive. The Drive posted something today about
really?
if Toyota got into the midsize or like the small truck market, like a Maverick competitor.
That could be
so
interesting.
That could also be what they were talking about.
Yeah, so. We'll have to get into that in the next episode. But if you like this style of video, be sure to let us know in the comments. We will be kind of upgrading our setup soon. This is kind of just a rough start, but wanted to get a feel for what it was like and just kind of get talking about some stuff, especially with this new Wavemaker color coming out. Wanted to hop on top of it and get your guys' thoughts on everything. So if you like this video, let us know. Leave us a like. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and we will see you in the next one. We'll see you guys.